Now the story begins when it was the season for Hilsa fish. Fishmongers sold nothing but Hilsa fish. Now students, fishmongers mean those who sell or deal in fish. In the market, those who sell only fish are called fishmongers. Now one of the fishmongers was trying to attract the buyers, calling, "Come, buy, the price of Hilsa is down today." So this way he was trying to draw the attention of the buyers so that he could sell some Hilsa fish to them. On the other hand, people in every house were also talking about nothing but Hilsa fish. Now in one of the houses, a lady is asking her husband when she noticed that he was returning from the market hanging a big Hilsa fish. The lady said, "How much did you pay for that Hilsa?" The man answered, "You would not believe if I told you." Therefore the man wanted to mean that he had bought it at a cheap price or at a low price. The price was unbelievable. And in the palace too, the courtiers could discuss nothing but Hilsa fish. Now who are courtiers? We all know, students, the members who attend a royal court to advise the king from time to time. Now not only in every house but also in the royal palace, the courtiers were all talking about Hilsa fish. One of the courtiers said to the king, "Your Majesty, you should have seen the huge Hilsa I caught." It was now an interruption. So the courtier wanted to inform the king that he had caught a huge Hilsa fish from somewhere. The courtier was also trying to say something more when the king interrupted. The king said, "Stop it. Are you a courtier or a fisherman?" So the king wanted to say that a courtier could never be a fisherman, and it really looks very odd if a courtier always talks about Hilsa fish like a fisherman. The courtier fell silent with downcast eyes. The king felt guilty. Now when the king scolded that courtier and prevented him from talking about Hilsa fish, the courtier became very upset. Downcast means disheartened or upset. But when the courtier became upset, the king felt guilty and he thought he should not have scolded the courtier. The king even said, "I am sorry. I lost my temper. It is the season for Hilsa fish and no one, not even Gopal, can stop anyone from talking about Hilsa fish, not even for 5 minutes." He said every time they were all talking about nothing but Hilsa fish like that of the fishermen, and he wanted the discussion to be stopped for some time. He wanted that people should stop talking about Hilsa fish at least for 5 minutes, and thought that there was nobody who could prevent people from talking about it. Then Gopal said, "Oh, I think I could, Your Majesty." Therefore Gopal, the most intelligent minister of the king, said that he was able to prevent people from talking about Hilsa fish. The king then said, "Then let me see you buy a huge Hilsa and bring it to the palace without anyone asking you a word about it." Now what the challenge was? Now the king wanted Gopal to buy a huge Hilsa fish from the market, and Gopal himself had to bring it to the palace, and the king wanted to see that Gopal should do something that people would not utter a word about Hilsa fish. Gopal said, "I accept the challenge, Your Majesty." Now Gopal accepted the challenge. He told the king that he would be able to make it possible. A few days later, Gopal is at home and he had half shaven his face. Gopal's wife asked Gopal, "Why is your face half shaven?" Because Gopal had shaven one part of his beard. What does this mean? This means Gopal had shaved one side of his cheek and kept the other side of the cheek full of beard. Gopal replied his wife, "I am dressing up to buy a fish." The wife said, "What's the matter with you? Why are you smearing yourself with ash?" Now smearing with ash means coating one's face with ash and therefore looking ugly. Now not only that, Gopal had shaved one side of his cheek, but also he marked his face with ash. Now that was really surprising for Gopal's wife. She could not understand what Gopal was going to do. Gopal again answered, "I told you, I am dressing up to buy a Hilsa fish." Now if you would like to buy a Hilsa fish from the market, why should you half shave yourself and why should you smear yourself with ash? So it was really very strange and the wife wanted to know the reason. But Gopal did not give any kind of explanation. Gopal left home and was walking towards the market. Though his wife wanted to stop him, Gopal did not stop. The wife said, "Listen to me. Please, you can't possibly go out in those disgraceful rags. What are you up to?" Now, disgraceful means shockingly bad or shockingly unpleasant, whereas rags mean torn clothes. So, apart from the half-shaven cheek and smearing with ash, he also put on torn clothes to buy a Hilsa fish. Now Gopal bought the Hilsa fish and started walking towards the palace. There were many villagers and children standing there. One of the children noticed the strange appearance of Gopal and said to his mother, "Mother, look at that man. Isn't he comical?" Comical means amusing. Now the village boy found the appearance of Gopal to be very amusing or funny. Another villager commented, "He must be a madman." One more villager remarked, "Hush, I think he is a mystic." Now hush is an interjection which is used by a speaker to stop someone from talking so that he himself can speak. So he said, "No, he is not a madman. Rather, he is a mystic." Mystic means mysterious, somebody on whom we cannot trust. So finally Gopal reached the royal court. There were two guards at the entrance. One of the guards said to Gopal, "What do you want?" Gopal replied, "I want to see the king." Now the guard could not identify him to be Gopal because he was almost in disguise, and therefore he did not allow Gopal to see the king. The second guard said, "You can't see the king. Get away with you." It means we cannot allow you to go inside the court and meet with the king. It is better if you go away from here. Now when the guards prevented Gopal from entering inside, he started to dance. Gopal began to dance and sing loudly. So outside the court, at the entrance, Gopal started to dance and sing at the highest pitch of his voice. In the palace, now the king was present in the court, and because the guards were angry and speaking to Gopal in a loud voice, their voice could be heard from inside the court. The king was able to hear that there was a confusion at the entrance. One of the guards said, "The man is crazy." The other one said, "Throw him out at once." Gopal replied, "I want to see the king, let me in." Now the king heard everything from inside, and he ordered, "Bring that man to me at once." And one of the guards said, "Yes, your majesty." Now Gopal was brought before the king. When Gopal was brought before the king, one of the courtiers recognized him to be Gopal. He said, "It's Gopal." Another courtier said, "The man has lost his mind." So the second courtier remarked that Gopal must have lost his mental balance. One more courtier, that is the third courtier, said, "I think it's one of his crazy jokes." So what does this mean? The third courtier wanted to mean that Gopal must be trying to play a trick that would cause amusement and that would cause everyone laugh. "All right, Gopal, out with it. Why are you dressed up in this ridiculous fashion?" Now finally the king wanted Gopal to tell the reason why he had dressed himself in that ridiculous fashion. Ridiculous means absurd or foolish. Then Gopal replied, "Your Majesty, you seem to have forgotten something." Gopal was actually trying to give a hint about what the king had said previously. Means Gopal was trying to remind the king of his challenge. Now it did not occur to the king. The king could not remember anything initially. The king asked himself, "Forgotten something? What have I forgotten?" Then Gopal said, "Strangely enough, no one seems to be interested in Hilsa fish today. From the market to the palace and in the court, not a soul has spoken a word about Hilsa fish." Now Gopal reminded the king that there was nobody right from the market to the palace and then to the court uttered a single word about the Hilsa fish that he was carrying with himself. Now what the challenge was, students? The king wanted Gopal to stop people from talking about Hilsa fish at least for 5 minutes. Only then did the king remember the challenge he had thrown to Gopal. Now the king remembered his challenge and accepted that Gopal had made it possible. First he laughed heartily. "Ha ha! Well, Gopal, congratulations." The king congratulated Gopal and said, "You have achieved the impossible once again." Gopal was already known for making every impossible possible, and he had proved it once again. Now the intelligence of Gopal was equally admired by all the courtiers who were present. So with this, we come to the end of the story. I am sure all of you have liked it very much. See you again in the next class. Thank you so much.